In the documentary Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything, few American journalists have had a career as trailblazing and transformative as Barbara Walters, whose astonishing life and work are recounted in her own words in this raw, intimate, decade-spanning documentary. Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything is directed by Jackie Jesko, and this film is her directorial debut, but she also directed the TV series Savior Complex for HBO, and Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything just debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival and will be streaming on Hulu starting June 23. Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything is a pretty compelling, conventional documentary, quite, again, very similar to other documentaries I've seen at Tribeca this year. It's very conventional. It just goes through the life of a very polarizing, popular figure, but because the archival footage and the subject at hand is so compelling, that's what makes this film so compelling. There's a lot of interviews in this film with fellow newsreaders such as Oprah Winfrey, Couric, Behar, and some of the interviewees that she interviews, such as Monica Lewinsky and other famous interview subjects that she's interviewed over the years. Growing up in Australia, most of the male and female news anchors we are not very familiar with in my country, but I think a lot of people in Australia do know who Barbara Walters is because her 1 hour specials with mostly celebrities did air in Australia, so we got to know her and her interviews. She always asked the hard questions and she always interviewed the popular people at the time, so I was aware of Barbara Walters' work, but I wasn't really aware of her earlier life and how she became to be who she was. So this was a very interesting documentary for me. She really had it. She really had a lot up against her when earlier in her career, being when the first female news anchor and just being a boys' club, and it was quite lonely for her early in her career. So it was very interesting to see her rise up in the ranks. And this film does get quite personal into her personal life, how she didn't really have much of a romantic life, and she even had relationships with married men, and it became public, and the film is like warts and all. So I think maybe this documentary was not really made with the involvement of her family, so this documentary was able to really dig deep into her life, and we really get to see everything about her. This film doesn't really go deep into any of the popular or very controversial interviews. She did interviews with a lot of like political figures and dictators and stuff like that, and several celebrities, but really doesn't go into that into much details. We just see her face to face with a celebrity or politician or somebody. She asks her like a very deep question, and then the interview subject gives like a blank stare, like they're shocked that Barbara asked the question, and then we don't hear the answer to the question. So, but basically, there's it does focus on one celebrity or figure in the second half, and that is Monica Lewinsky. And Monica Lewinsky does contribute to this documentary, and she explains her process of how she gave her first tour interview after the scandal in the 90s, and how Barbara was very comforting and made her relax and was very helpful in her process of getting over that scandal. And we got insight into how Barbara Walters, when she finally got that interview with someone famous or polarizing, how her process into how it worked. So that was interesting. I give Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything 3.5 stars out of 5. This is a conventional, pretty much binary numbers documentary, but Barbara Walters' career is very interesting, and all the archival footage in this film was very well put together and very compelling, and there's a lot of very interesting interview subjects in this film, such as Oprah and Couric and Connie, Chung and Monica Lewinsky and many admirers of her work. So I definitely recommend checking out this film, Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything. Thanks for watching. What did you think of Barbara Walters' Tell Me Everything? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.